everyone, what is up and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ella and I make videos all about my university experience and my life. We're on to episode 3 of the Let's Get Real series. I had the most amazing response to the last 2 episodes, so I am going to carry it on. This week's Let's Get Real topic is all about breakups. As you all know, I guide these videos by answering your questions from my Instagram. If you would like to take part in next week's Let's Get Real episode, then don't forget to follow me on Instagram. My handle is @ella.houghton. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first question I received was, how did you deal with the breakup whilst having only just moved to university? So if you do not know, I have been on YouTube for a few years now, and I actually kind of documented my first breakup on YouTube to an extent. I'm actually amazed that some of you even remember that, because that was actually such a long time ago. So with that particular breakup, I had been with the boy for 2 years. We had been together since I was 16 until just after I started university, so maybe like a month after. Obviously that was like my first experience of like a serious relationship, I suppose. And I'm not gonna lie, it was really tough having just moved to university. So on the actual night of it happening, I was lucky because I had already made some pretty good friends at university, but obviously relatively I'd actually only known them for about 5 weeks, so you know, it was a lot to sort of rely on those people I'd only just met as my support network for something that was really difficult at the time. I barely spent any time actually on my own, at least for the first 2 weeks of the breakup, I think. I actually went to my grandma's the weekend after it happened, and then I went home for a week. So I basically tried to make sure that I was pretty much never on my own, just because I personally I just found the idea of being completely on my own really scary. And because I think I'd been in a relationship for, you know, since I was 16, my kind of mindset was that I didn't know how to be on my own anymore, which is really sad and crazy to think now, because I just think that that's such a sad way to feel, but it was actually how I felt, and I'm not gonna lie about it on here just to make myself sound like some strong independent woman. Yeah, I was just really scared to be on my own, and I needed that kind of support. So I would say, if you're dealing with a breakup and you've just gone to university, to make sure that you just spend loads of time with your friends. I think that is the main thing that helped me. It was just spending time with my friends and not letting myself sort of wallow on my own, because I feel like that's a really easy thing to do when you go through a breakup. I mean, obviously there's the time for that, and obviously if that is what helps you, then fair enough, but that was how I dealt with it when I was at university. And next question, which kind of follows on quite nicely, was, how did you get through the first stage of the breakup? So in my opinion, the first stage of the breakup is the worst. Mainly because obviously there's a shock factor. You can also completely get out of like habits that you get used to when you're in a relationship. So, you know, like you'll constantly text the person that you're with. Like you'll text them good morning, you'll text them good night. That was one of the things that I actually found really hard to sort of get past, is that I felt like I had no one who cared about what happened in my day, and I felt like, you know, I had no one to sort of tell my day to, which was really sad. Basically, the way I got through it was not the most functional, but then I don't think you can really judge anyone when they go through a breakup. I did have my crazy like single off the rails stage, which was a bit fun, and by that I just basically mean I went out clubbing loads with my friends, but I kind of think that was absolutely needed. Like, I also got like a haircut, and I bought a load of new clothes and makeup because I was like, I'm gonna have a post-breakup glow up, and I did, and not gonna lie, I looked fit. Basically, I don't think there's any set way to deal with a breakup. I don't think there's any perfect way or any imperfect way. They are bloody hard, and they are emotionally very difficult to get through, I would say. Like, you think no one's ever gonna love you again, and that you're gonna be alone forever, and like how can anyone love you if that person can love you? And like, honestly, it's that, like, that stuff that you tell yourself just is not true. There is life after a breakup, and I think it can actually be really hard to see that when you're in it. Next question, can you still be friends with your ex's friends? completely depends on the relationship. And completely depends on whether you have like mutual friends. I know it's really difficult if your like ex is in the same group of friends as you. I think you would have to come to some sort of agreement where, you know, you could sort of learn to live as friends, or you could sort of, I don't know, you'd have to find a way around it if it's that. You know, if it's like your boyfriend's group of male friends and like you're not really friends with them apart from when you're with him, then I think it's going to be very difficult for you to keep being like best buds with them without it just seeming really disrespectful to him on their part. I think obviously you've got to kind of see what's appropriate for your sort of case. So if it feels right, then do it. If it doesn't, don't. The next question I got, which wasn't really a question, it's more of a topic, is coping with missing your ex's family and friends. I thought this was a really interesting one and kind of branches off the last question that I answered. I do understand that a lot because obviously you do get very close with your ex's family, and you know, when you're in any sort of relationship, you do get close with the family, you do get close to the friends, you sort of become a part of their life. I think the thing is that although it is sad, when you say goodbye to something, you're also saying hello to something new. So, you know, you do just sort of become a part of someone's life, and then with a breakup, you're like, just not anymore. And it's like, oh, okay, so that's a whole aspect of my life that's just gone. But you get used to it, and life moves on, and you find a new normal, and, you know, that's just life. If things stayed the same forever, then life would be very, very boring. Okay. Next question, how did you know when it was the right time to move on? So I don't think there's ever a right time to move on. I think it's, you know, individual. I think it's different for everybody. But for me, I found that it was more of like a mental sort of detachment kind of thing. Like in my head, once I decided that I just didn't want this to be a thing, I didn't want to be upset about him anymore. I actually do feel like there is a moment for everyone, whether it's a week down the line, a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, that everyone has this moment of kind of going, you know, you're really upset, you're like heartbroken, you feel like, you know, you've got a physical pain in your chest, you feel like it's never gonna leave, you feel alone, you feel lost. And then I just feel like one day you wake up and it just hurts less. It's just time. Like there's never a right time. I think there's never a right time. I think it just takes time for everyone, and that amount of time differs. But just know that you're not going to be heartbroken forever, and you will eventually move on, even if it takes you a really long time. So I've also got a few questions on friendship breakups. So which breakup hurts more, partner or best friend? Honestly, I think friendship breakups are a really weird one. I think something that friendship breakups and relationship breakups share, which is a comforting thing for me at least, is that I always feel like there is always a reason why there is a breakup, friendship or relationship. I definitely think friendship breakups are a weird one because you almost feel like you shouldn't be heartbroken. But you know, if you do feel like that, then that's completely okay. And you know, either way, you've still lost someone from your life who was obviously important to you for some reason. So I would say, for me personally, what hurts more is a relationship, just because I feel like in a relationship, you're like a team. Like you're like, you know what I mean, you're like a tag team. So when you lose that person, it's awful. I don't know. I think it's just completely dependent, okay? I'm kind of in the middle. I think both are pretty awful. But I personally had a worse experience with relationship breakups. So what's your opinion on relationships working out when two people go to different unis? So this is difficult, right? So when I actually went to uni, my ex was still in sixth form. So in a way, I can kind of relate in the sense that, like, you know, you're starting university and you're in two completely different places. But obviously I've never had a boyfriend that's gone to a different university to me, so I can't like speak on that so much. I think the thing I'd say is just basically you guys need to communicate. I think you just need to be super honest with each other. Like if one of you isn't happy and you feel like it's going to hinder you in any way staying together, then you need to be honest about your feelings, or it's just going to fester and get worse and worse until it like comes out in a really nasty way when it doesn't need to. I do think long distance relationships can work. I think it's just about effort from both sides, and if you're willing to make the effort and so is that person, then great. But if, you know, one of you isn't or both of you aren't, then you might want to consider other options. Next question, how to stop yourself trying to go back to them for the security or familiarity. I completely understand this one. I think that is the most difficult part of breaking up from a long-term relationship. Is it's just easy. It's easy to stay with them, it's easy to go back to them. And the harder thing is breaking up, because it's a break of routine and you know where you stand with that person you've been with for ages and whatever. Something that I really like to think about that really helps me is that you've got to think of a breakup as a beautiful thing. All of a sudden you've got all this time and this space in your life. I do think that it's difficult, familiarity, but I don't think this is the time in life to be holding on to someone as a comfort blanket. I do think that this is the time to be with someone if you love them, and you know, you're not just with them because it's comfortable, but because you love them and you love what they're about. And yeah, I'm rambling, but I think you get my gist. Next question, do you think getting back with an ex means a lack of self-esteem? No, absolutely not. I think, you know, if that is what you want to do and it feels right for you, then go for it. But with that said, just whatever you do, make sure you have self-respect. And what I mean by that is, you know, if they have absolutely violated your respect in some way, whether that be they cheated on you, whether that be they called you lots of nasty names, you know, whatever that may be, I think you have to consider whether getting back with them will A, disrespect you, like will you be disrespecting yourself by getting back with them, and B, whether being with them will actually make you happy again. Like I said before, is it just the familiarity? Is it just, you know, wanting to be comfortable, or is it that you love them and that you've realised you want to be with them for the rest of your life? It could be either of those things. I can talk about my experience till I go blue in the face, but at the end of the day, I'm not in your relationship and nobody else is. No one can really tell you what to do in your relationship, because I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, or you know, how happy that person really makes you. So just trust yourself, trust your gut. If it feels right, then go for it. Next question, how do you get over someone who treated you badly or cheated? Now, I don't think I've ever actually been cheated on. But I mean, technically, I think I was cheated on when I was in a relationship when I was like 15 with this boy. But I don't really think that counts so much. But I think the boyfriend, my first ever boyfriend that I was with when I was 15 for like 2 months, I think he might have cheated on me. But to be honest, like, I wasn't that arsed anyway, do you know what I mean? I really hope that he's not watching this. I do think that cheating is a horrible, horrible thing. And I think that, you know, honestly, I'm just saying this, I don't think if you cheat, that makes you a bad person. I do not. I think that, you know, we're all human and humans make mistakes and whatever. But I do think if you are purposefully going into a relationship knowing that you're not going to stay loyal, then I think that that is wrong. And I think that you should just not be with that person. Like, you know, be single. If you want to go, you know, sleep with some random bird or some random guy, then, you know, power to you. But it's just not fair to, you know, mentally and emotionally harm someone long term as a result. And that is what cheating does. I have had my trust broken in the past, and so I can relate to you on that aspect. I think the thing with trust is to just, you can't like apply someone else's wrongdoings to someone new. I think that is like that is the key thing. Even though someone might break your heart, cheat on you, treat you badly, that doesn't mean that every other person you're with is going to be the same. And you can't go into life, you can't carry on through life having trust issues. It's not fair on the new people you're with, and actually it's not fair on yourself. Okay, so that just about rounds up my Let's Get Real episode all about breakups. You know, I've been there. Being heartbroken is the worst. And actually, I feel like not so many people talk about how actually hard breakups can be emotionally and mentally. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you would like a notification every time I upload a new video. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram, then my handle is @ella.houghton. Follow me on there for all the most up-to-date information on what is going on in my life. And follow me on TikTok. My handle is @ella.houghton and the last O is a 0. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one. Bye!